Here at SolarDrive, we're really excited to present our new solar canopy. We've done three major improvements. We've worked with the weight, we've halved that of the old product, and we have improved the PV power, and then we have halved the price. In addition, we have worked with the same design features. We've kept the curved, iconic design. We've made improvements on the corner, and then we've also made adjustable mountings at the rear or at the ceiling. For more details, please look at our homepage or our spec. You can see all details here. For mounting the PV canopy, we will need some tools. This is not actually necessary, but it's nice to have a amp meter so you can measure how much sun comes in. We'll get back to that. Then a measure or a tape for measuring so you get the roof centered. A squeezer and a plier and a 13mm wrench. Then we have Torx and Allen screws and a set of bits for the power drill. That's really handy to have. And then finally a set of wrenches for quick mounting of nuts and so on. And then finally a pen and paper to note measurements when you center the roof, and a cleanup for the end. Here we have mounting for the canopy. We have mounting for special cars, if the FDR car. We have mounting for tubes where holes are going horizontally. We have mounting for vertical screws, holes. And then we have mounting for other special cars, that's Club Car and EasyGo. And finally we have mounting and wires for the MPPT charge controller. Before the mounting, we have to consider how to mount the roof. This car has vertical holes, so that gives us the opportunity to make a vertical screw mounting. Other cars have horizontal holes, but we'll leave that. Now we'll just concentrate on the vertical mounting. For this mount, we're going to make a vertical mount, so actually these are not needed. I'm going to take those off. To take them off, you use a 45 Torx. I've got a 45 Torx on this power drill. So we're going to do a vertical screw mount, and we can combine the screws as we like. So this screw is suitable for the mount that I'm going to do. So I'm going to just take it off, and we have the lock screw and the washer there, or the lock washer and the washer there. And we have the special washer that allows the screw to adjust in angle, and the nut. We're going to mount the nut here, put it in. So observe that you simply slide it in the slot and then you can put it in. Then this one goes on top here, and we can screw this in. Of course, you will need to have the tube in between, but notice this, it can adjust like this. So any angle on the strut tube will be absorbed in this adjustment here. And we're going to measure our struts, the distance between this and this, to ensure correct mounting. So it's very simple. You measure from the hole, center of the hole, to the center of the other hole over here. So in this case it's 128 centimeters. Now we will prepare the roof for mounting. So we just measured the distance between the two struts, and we want the mounting beams here to have the same distance so it matches the roof. So we'll look at this and notice that we have approximately 134 centimeters here, and we want to have it down to 128 as we measured before. So what we do is, I've loosened this one and we adjust it to the 128. And you just need to. Now we've adjusted the length, so it's 128 centimeters as measured on top. It just slided there, so we just hold it on top, and then we tighten the screw. Quite easy. Notice that the bracket here turned. It needs to be vertical, the bracket, so it, when you tighten it. And then there's another tip. This is a Torx 40. It goes in at an angle, so it's easier to tighten up. For the final tight, use the 45 Torx because that's the correct measurement. So there we have. There. Now that we've adjusted the distance of the mounting beam, it's ready for mounting. You probably noticed this. This is a snip that you will pull off and it'll reveal the double-sided tape that's underneath here. This we will pull off when we've made our final mount and we're sure that the mounting beams are in place. When you take this off, the PV will stick to the mounting beam and you will avoid a rattle when driving the car. Okay. Mounting the roof is a two-man job, so I've got my young assistant to help me. First we'll pick it up, really easy, and then we'll simply put it on top of the struts. Next step is mounting the nuts. They go in up here, and you slide them in so they're approximately the same width as the hole for mounting. This one just needs a little bit more. The next one, the rear one, exactly the same. The hole there, they go like that. Same here, and the last one. Next step, we want to lift the roof so the mounting beams are on top of the struts. So that's actually done already. Really easy. To center the roof, we will need to check that the distance from the side beam into the center of the screw is the same. And we've measured it before, and it's 18.5 centimeters here, and it should be the same on this side. So 18.5 centimeters from the other side to the center of the screw. So in that way we've centered the roof and tightened these two screws afterwards, and it's centered. After tightening the screws, the roof should be real firm and it shouldn't be in any way loose or wiggly. So it should be firm feel. Next thing is to consider, do you want the wires to go down in the right or the left side? You can take the wires off and route it that way, so you can have it on the left if you like. For this mount we will keep it in the right side, so you simply cut off the wire part, and then we can either route the wire through the struts. That would be a really nice mount, and you'll be sure that it won't be tangled into whatever on the route. You can also tie it to the strut, and that's also okay. Next thing is to find how to get it from the outer structure and into the battery compartment. For this, usually we will recommend drilling a hole that's big enough for the plug to go through, and then put it through. For this mount, there's actually a hole where the rear strut is mounted. So that gives us the opportunity to dismount the rear strut and then put it through, and of course check that the wires do not get squeezed somehow when you tighten things, because otherwise you'll have a shortcut. But that's our strategy for now. Now we will need the wire ties to tie on the solar wire going down to the battery compartment. In the kit there's a bag with battery wires, and then there's also wire ties. So it's quite simple. You find the best solution for tying the wires on, and if you do it with the same way all the way down, then it will look nice and neat. Make sure the wire ties are quite close to each other. If they're not close, you could easily have a golf club tangling into this. So if they're close and tight, then you'll avoid situations like that. So I'll just put an extra here so that we're sure that it won't tangle into anything unexpected. Now I want to dismount the rear strut, and I'll need a 14mm top to do that, and then put the wire through into the battery compartment. Now that we've completed wiring the PV wire down through the battery compartment, we will start mounting the batteries. This is the battery compartment, and here we have the wire from the PV, and that's going to be connected with the MPPT charge controller. Now we want to mount the battery wire. This is the battery wire. The red one goes to the positive, the black one goes to the negative. We do not connect anything, because this is just a plug that goes into the charge controller or MPPT. So simply mount these two. Take off the cap for the positive side, and take off the cap from the nut, and then loosen the screw. This case it's quite normal. It's a 1/2 inch or 13mm wrench. Loosen that and find the positive red wire here and put it on. There we go. Normally it might be an idea to take off the outer one, because that's and put it in between like that. Mount. There we are. Make sure that when you tighten this, that these are free, so that you can push the rubber on top of the nut when you're finished tightening. Because notice when you tighten the screw, it will force the wire down, so you need to keep it up a little bit so that you won't force it down. Next thing we're going to do is mount the charge controller. We've got the charge controller here. We've got the battery wires and the PV wires, and we're going to tie it in with some wire ties. Okay, you have to consider where to put the charge controller. There are holes here. It can be screw mounted, or you can mount it with wire ties. I will do the quick solution here, mount it with wire ties like this, and you can mount it wherever you suit. It's not very heavy, so you can actually mount it on a wire, just like this. You can also mount it into a surface or whatever you think is suitable for mounting the charge controller. This is a little bit tricky, but we'll get there. So, now that we've mounted the charge controller, there we have to find the wire from the PV. This is the wire from the PV, and it goes into this one. Notice there's a slot there, and so they need to fit in together. When you connect these two, you will notice that it'll start lighting up already. And then there's the blue wire going through here, and the brown wire is going through, so it's correctly connected. So that's the first thing. Next thing is that I usually take out the fuse before connecting the battery, just to be sure that nothing is wrong. Notice I've tagged the wire in here or tied it up, so it's nice and neat. We don't want loose wires hanging around in the battery compartment that can catch on to anything. So now it's actually connected. Next step is to put in the you noticed it gave a small spark, and that's how it's supposed to do. It always gives me a little bit of a shock when I do it, but that's all in order. And you put that on, and we're ready to go. Notice that the it's flashing slowly. That indicates that it's charging, and also it's flashing red. That indicates that it's a 48 volt battery. If you wanted to connect it to a 60 volt battery, you should cut this red small wire. Then the lamp would be flashing blue, and that indicates that it's set for a 60 volt battery. And same thing, it'll be flashing slowly if it's charging correctly. If it flashes quickly, then the batteries are overcharged and it will stop charging. There are 3 states of charge. There's a trickle charge and a bulk charge and a starting charge. So and it's all done automatically by the charge controller. So finishing step is to tie up the PV wire, and then we're done to drive. I'm just tying out the last loose ends, and then all the wires for the PV are tied up, and nothing is loose, nothing will hang out during driving when you're driving. So we actually finished to go. Last thing is that we need to put on the seat. Final touch on the mounting is to take off the magic tag here. So there's actually double-sided tape up here, and if it's not taken off, this roof will rattle against it. So if you take this off like this, so now the top is exposed, the cello tape is exposed, and you just give it a nice press like this over the top, and the rattle will stop. So that was the final thing before going. Okay, ready to go.